Credit to Oregon. They were poised. I'm not surprised that they hung in there when they were down. I've seen them do it. Obviously, the Michigan game was an example that was fresh in my mind, so I'm not surprised that they hung in there and tried to make plays. They have an excellent point guard, kept him in it, made a lot of plays, and they did what they needed to do. From my standpoint, about as upsetting a loss as we've had in this building. I told the players, that's on me, that's on us. It was gross in every way, the way we handled when we had a lead, the way we handled when they were cutting into our lead. And I think we have a lot of potential to be really good, but not if we don't figure some things out in terms of, the way that we approach starts of quarters, starts of halves, games, shoot around. So obviously I'm wildly disappointed. I respect and trust our players enough to say that to their face and fight to get better.
Coach, do you have any update on Kennedy?
She's day to day.
Hey, Lindsay. First half they scored 21 points. Second half they scored 50.
They sure did.
What was the breakdown?
Our shot selection was ridiculous. Our shot selection was really, really bad, which led them. I had to use a couple timeouts that then I didn't have at the end. I thought that we were not disciplined enough on the offensive end, which allowed them to play in transition. They're really good in transition. I thought our matchups in transition were faulty. In addition, I thought, as you start to get up, as it's slipping away, we did uncharacteristic things like we want to rebound for sure. We want an offensive rebound. But then we started what I would call harassing the rebounder. So now we've got 2 or 3 people on their 5-player and they're flying up the court. I thought we would have had a lot of breakdowns in transition defense, and some of that came off of bad shot selection.
I just have one more. They're a team that likes to get attacked downhill. In the first half, we did a good job of holding them to that. In the second half, Katie Faiso especially took the lead in that and started getting downhill. Was there a breakdown in the help side on the back end, or was it just we just weren't focused enough to know to stop their attacking down?
Yeah, I thought we did an excellent job on her in the first half, but she's a really good player. She's not then going to settle. I thought we had a lot of breakdowns. I thought some of it was that we at times wanted to play the ball screen 2-on-2 and live with tough twos. She's going to make a couple. And when we were doing that, we tagged a little too heavy and gave up threes. Then we shifted the coverage to try and trap, and we couldn't get it to the screen a couple times in a row. And so then when you pull your 5-player into a trapping situation, then there isn't help on the backside, so you really got to get the ball to the screen. We botched it in a number of ways. And she's really good, but we botched the coverage in a number of ways for sure.
Kara, given the way that the UCLA game went, then followed by a loss like this, how do you feel about just the headspace of this team right now? And Lindsay, what do you tell the team kind of coming out of 2 tough losses like that?
I think that it's time that we make a change. We can't, coming off of a loss like UCLA, like Coach Lindsay was telling us in the locker room to start the game, we were a little bit hungrier, but then we immediately sat back and were casual in the second half, which you can't be, especially coming off a loss like that. We need to be as hungry as we can be. And going into the next games, we have to have a change of heart, a change of mind, and get after it.
Yeah, do you want to know where my headspace is? I thought we didn't compete well enough at all against UCLA. I thought our level of competition was not at the level of that we want here. Forget the score. They're good. It's not, we didn't compete. And that was from the first tip when it was a tie game for 15 minutes. And I didn't think we were competing well. And I didn't think we competed well. Watching the film, I was obviously more pissed than I even was post-game, right? I didn't think we competed well. I'm not sure that our players completely understand then the level that needs to shift when you're that displeased with something, right? To go. I was happy tonight that I thought early on our shots weren't falling and we were taking the right shots. And I was like, the shots are going to fall, and we amped up our pressure and we got ourselves going. I thought that was the bright spot of tonight. I thought we figured out that when our early on our shots weren't falling, but we were taking the right ones. You stick with it, you pick up the pressure. We got some what we call pick sixes and turned them over. But then I thought we came out in the second half like had arrived.
and the grind of it all. What can you kind of tell your teammates at this point that, you know, it's still early in Big Ten play and, you know, without getting too far down mentally?
Yeah, I mean, you have to feel it. You have to go through every emotion of it. I think if that's one thing that I've learned is there's ups and downs of basketball, and this is a part of basketball, and you just kind of have to do whatever it takes to fix it. I mean, it's going to be game by game. This is an amazing conference. We have another good team coming up that we have to focus for. So you can only dwell on it so long, but the practices that we do have to really lock into what it is that the coaches are. We have to buy into what the coaches need us to buy into. So from my perspective, it's really just locking into what's being asked and doing anything that I possibly can to do what's being asked. But this is a part of basketball, so we just kind of have to figure it out, feel it, go through every emotion of it, and come out stronger.
Kara and Londynn, you guys came out in that first half real strong, as Coach pointed out, especially after coming after that loss. What can you take from that first half, though, to the next game and the rest of the season that you guys could be proud of going forward?
Yeah, I think from the very beginning we weren't hitting as many shots as we wanted to, and then we started to heat up. I think it started off with our defense and getting those pick sixes, like getting the blocks, the steals, and the press. But I think it was our energy with each other. Like the more that we played with each other, the more we read the ball and the way we dictate the other team. I think that was what we needed to make sure that we were doing in the second half, just slow down and make sure that we were doing the right stuff and not just jacking up anything.
Coach, for you, you talked a little bit about headspace. We saw a couple of times when the shot clock was about to expire, and it seemed like the headspace wasn't really good at that time. Is that something that you need to coach in game, or is this a practice situation, or how do you help coach a more calm headspace when things get hard like that?
Putting him in every situation in practice and just demanding that we execute the way we want to execute.
Kara and Londynn, as two experienced players, as a teammate, how do you get your teammates to kind of tap into their competitive side?
I mean, it's going to take a lot of leadership. I think one way of leading for us is leading by example. I think we can just start doing the things that's being asked, buy into what's being asked, and try to lead in that way. But I think also using our voice, like you kind of said, we are the more experienced on the team. So just being as vocal as we can and being a voice out there for Coach Lindsay when she needs it, and just getting everyone together. So I think that those are a couple ways that we can start getting things together and making a change.
Yeah, and I piggyback off of that, and it starts with our discipline. Like, we can score as much as we want, offense, all of that, but especially, like, for me, especially is on defense, making sure that I'm setting the example and setting the tone also for our team. And so I think it starts there.